Happy Easter, y'all. Before I get into today's episode and the topic that you see on your screen, I did just want to share something that I told Darian yesterday because this has been on my heart. I really do miss Easter when I was still living at home with my parents because in addition to it was my sisters, I have two younger sisters, myself, and then my mom and dad. In addition to everyone getting dressed up, hair laid, bright, beautiful dresses on, going into church and just knowing that that praise team was going to throw down because as we all know, praise and worship on Easter Sunday is the creme de la creme. In addition to all of that, going home and just knowing that there was more celebration to be had with the family, with food, with games, with just pure laughter, just filling up the house. I really miss that. And I'm in a very interesting season of life where we're past the parentals putting together Easter and we're past having siblings and all of that in person. Of course, if I could fly down there, but we got a lot going on right now in this season. But I'm also not at the point yet where we're hosting for our kids and, for us to have family come over to experience that holiday as well. So it's a very interesting in between, pre-conceiving of children, where you just have to make your new normal, especially with Darian and I being, we don't have any family here in Raleigh. So it's not like we could just go over to an aunt's house or anything like that. So I just wanted to share that because I was I can't be the only one. And if you are also feeling that sentiment, I see you. What is this? I see you. So now that we have given Jesus all of the praise, honor, glory, attention that he deserves on this glorious day, let's pivot to the topic of this video, which is all around how I have leveraged AI for my 2025 business transaction reconciliations, the bane of my existence. And for context, before this year, I was using QuickBooks, and QuickBooks is great, but I'm over here thinking, okay, how can I leverage chat in a way that QuickBooks is probably doing on the back end because I am no longer paying for that subscription, nor do I care to honestly download that platform again. I also used to have a CPA who was supposed to be reconciling my transactions monthly. Found out around this time last year that for my 2024 taxes, she hadn't even reconciled a single transaction all year for 2024. So I was paying her 4 figures to do that. So we obviously had to fire her and keep it pushing. And so now where I'm at now is okay, how do I leverage AI to do the mundane tasks that both the CPA was supposed to be doing with QuickBooks and also what QuickBooks could be doing if I wanted to pay for that software. Before I get into the detailed step-by-step process of how I used AI to reconcile all of my 2025 business transactions, I do want to share a very important caveat, which is that prior to putting any of my information into ChatGPT, I did remove all of my personal data so that that could not be used for anything. It's just unnecessary. I work in HR in my 9 to 5, and the big thing that we talk about is what data do we actually need to put out there and use versus what is just excess. Anything personal data is excess in the situation, okay? So that means anything with your name, anything with your home address, anything with your EIN, your social, your account number, and yeah, I think those are the big, and then your credit card number, right? So those all need to be redacted before you even put anything into the AI model that you're using, okay? So I need to start with that security caveat because I'm not trying to get anyone caught up and looking like Boo-Boo the Fool in any future situations. All right, so the first thing that you're gonna wanna do is go into whatever platform you use for your banking. So for me, all of my checking accounts are in Chase, and then the credit cards that I use for business are also in Chase. So with that being said, you go into the app that you use, and then you should see, when you click into your statements, you should see a place for you to download your year-end summary. That is the one file that you need per account or per credit card that you use, instead of downloading all of your monthly statements. For one, your monthly statements have way too much information, like way too much personal information on there. You don't need all of that. What you just need is the one singular spreadsheet of all of your transactions for the year. Okay? So you're going to download that as a CSV file. And once you download that, your next step is then going to be to go into that file and make sure that there's no personal information in there. So for me, first name, last name, deleted. Now you'll see a column for either your account number, and it's typically the last four of that account, or your credit card number. What I highly recommend for that column is to essentially swap out that number with a pseudo number. So for example, let's say that your credit card ends in 5678, but you don't need to be putting your last four of your credit card number into any AI model. So instead, what I would recommend doing is literally getting like a pen and paper and writing like 5678 equals 1234, and then updating all of those rows where it shows your account number, update all of those to 1234, so that if you do run your model, if you do run this through the AI model and it's like, hey, I have a question about this transaction that was done on credit card 1234, was this business or personal, and what category was it within? You'll then be able to be like, oh, right, 1234 equates to this account. Let me go back to my original spreadsheet. Or you may even remember like, oh yeah, that was a bakery. I met up with someone for a business meeting. That was a business expense. Category equals meals, right? So you'll do all of that. Make sure that you should really only have your pseudo account number, the date of the transaction itself, and then how much it costs. That's it. So that's step two. So step one was downloading the CSVs for any and all of your accounts for, credit cards and your checking. So step two was then deleting that, whatever the last four is of your account number or credit card number, and then just equating it to a pseudo account number. And I took notes because this is really important stuff. I literally, in the past, it's taken me days, and I've dreaded doing this reconciliation situation. I don't think I spent more than 3 hours on this year. And that is just, we thank the Lord, because I've been putting it off. It's April 5th. I've been putting it off for months now because I'm just like, I hate doing this stuff. But this whole process just made things so much easier. Okay, so that's step number two. Step number three, this is especially important if you have multiple businesses like me. So I had one folder in my laptop for business one, and then I had a separate folder in my laptop for business two. So within each of those folders, I had the respective year-end summary CSV files for each of the respective cards or accounts that was within that business. This is important because obviously you don't want to be mixing business transactions from business A to business B. So when you're doing all of this, just make sure you're doing it separately, one at a time, for each respective business. Now, this is the fun part. You are going to put this prompt into whatever AI model you're using. I need you to act like a professional accountant. I will provide you with all of the year-end summaries from 2015 in CSV format. Create an organized spreadsheet breaking down the transactions by category. I also need a summary page with the total expenses broken out by those respective categories for all of 2025. This is the data that I will be sharing with my CPA, so please ensure that it is correct for my 2025 tax filings. And then once you have that prompt, you're gonna upload the file of the respective business that you're looking to do your reconciliation for, and you let AI do its thing. The first business I did it for, it took 23 minutes, and I actually appreciate that it shows how long it took to think before it was actually able to provide a spreadsheet. Now, one thing that I appreciated, and I may have done like a follow-up message in chat, I have to go back and check, but I did tell it, if you are unsure about any of the categories, let me know. Because obviously, like if you just see, I don't know, Glow Atomo, for example, I've talked about her, of course, she's my business coach. So if you see that, you don't know what to categorize Glow Atomo as, right? So what I appreciated with this process was that the first draft that it provided back to me was all of the categories where it was like suggested categories, and then it had a separate column for final categories. And so what it wanted me to do was essentially align, just want to confirm this suggested category is the right one. If it's not, update the final categories column, and then it would then run it again. So you may find it where when you double check the AI's work, you may see that there may be some categories that are off, but it was no more than 10 for me out of like 150 plus transactions. So you can do a lot of double checking if you don't fully trust AI. Like for example, if you want to double check all of the transactions from account 1234 actually showed up in the final summary, you can just essentially compare the original CSV that you downloaded from the bank and just do like the count of how many transactions were in that original CSV compared to what will be showing in the spreadsheet that chat spits back out to you. So I did a bit of double checking here and there. Now that, as I mentioned, the first one took like about 23 minutes. The second business that I did, once I said, okay, this is exactly, you're doing great, this is exactly what I need, now do it again for this business. 3 minutes, done. And yeah, I think that this is a super helpful way of just like, if you're a business owner, especially if you have high operating costs, like you know how tedious this can be. So in the event that you do need to, update any of the categories, you'll just make the necessary updates. So the spreadsheet that chat gives you, you'll download that, make the updates on that downloaded CSV, and then save it and re-upload it back into chat and tell it exactly what you updated. Like I would say, hey, I updated all the final categories or I updated all the final categories in this spreadsheet. Please use these new final categories to create a new final summary for my 2025 expenses. And the AI models are getting real good, that's all I can say. So Friday, I submitted all of my business and personal expenses. When it comes to the income side, it depends on how your CPA wants the information. Mine just wants it in an Excel sheet with like, what was your total income? And then with your expenses, what was the breakdown of the categories? So how much did you spend on meals versus, supplies versus business travel? And so he just needs like those high level like summary numbers. So that's what he's gonna get. And we'll see tomorrow. I think he should be getting it back to me so that we can make sure we don't have to do any extension filing this year for the first time in years. But yeah, it's really exciting just seeing how we can use AI as a tool especially for the stuff that we do not enjoy doing. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments section. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments section. But I hope that this was helpful. And even if you don't use this exact method or this exact prompt, I hope that this is just getting your gears turning around like how you can leverage AI to help you, whether it's tax season stuff or whether it's other stuff in your business that you're like, man, if I could have someone else do this and not have to pay them, that would be great. So if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace and happy Easter.